Freudenberg is probably one of the major suppliers in the meantime in the automotive world. We are a $10 billion US company. We have 11 business groups which are either fully dedicated like Vibracoustic or sealing technologies, fully dedicated in automotive, and we've got others who are partly dedicated like performance materials, filters, so everything which you need as a automotive company to make a car of the performance and the quality we see today in the world.
Freudenberg is actually established in many parts of the world too, even here in Detroit area.
Freudenberg is established globally. We are represented around the world. We've got actually some of the business groups are even headquartered in the US. So for example, the Chemtrend, which is a release agent company, is headquartered here. We've got a medical division headquartered here, and every big business group has a major presence here in North America.
Let's take a walk around, and I'd like to show folks how big it is. Can we actually see some of the products that you brought with us this time?
Sure.
Okay, let's go take a look. Yeah, let's go take a look.
Okay. As I mentioned, we've got several business groups represented here today with their products. You see here, for example, Glüber lubrication, which has to do all with performance lubricants for the automotive industry, for Tier 1 and OEM. You find here our latest edition JVC, which is in floor mats, as you can see. We've got on this side here, we've got Chemtrend, which is a release agent company which you need for all kind of molding processes in the automotive world. We've got the filter technologies, which is one of the business groups which has been for more than 20 years in the full cell technology, providing high performance filters. We've got here our biggest business group, which is the performance materials, which is doing anything you can think about performance materials for acoustic and for cancellation of noise. And here's our biggest business group, which is the Freudenberg Sealing NOK group, which we always look in two different sides. We've got a traditional sealing business, which is for combustion engines, and we've got a lot of innovative products which go into the battery and e-mobility arena for the future vehicles.
Performance is a very important word to Freudenberg, isn't it?
Performance is probably the key word, and we look at it from that most of our business groups, we go really from material development all the way to vehicle simulation, vehicle testing, which we are very proud of to have the whole value stream for the products. Here we are the second dedicated automotive business group, Vibracoustic. Vibracoustic, we look at our products for two different elements. It's all about comfort in the end, how the driver feels in the car. We have the chassis side, which is everything which comes from the road noise through the tires. We're trying to eliminate those kind of vibrations and noise for the driver. And we've got the second area, which we call the Powertrain business unit, which is everything which comes through either the drivetrain or the engine itself inside to the driver in terms of performance and comfort. So it's all about giving the driver a most perfect feeling in the car. So I like to highlight the air springs, which is one of the products in the chassis business unit. Air springs have really found its way into premium vehicles and SUVs. You're going to find them in pretty much all the premium SUVs in the world right now. Most interesting is because they have a lot of potential in the e-mobility, because as you go into the battery-driven vehicles, which have a lot of skateboard designs, as we can read all over the place, you have the need of, number one, cooling of the batteries from the underneath, from the floor, and you need to have clearance to the road to avoid any kind of damage to the batteries. And that's where these kind of products, the air springs, can really make a difference. And we believe we can really offer an advantage here, a competitive advantage in performance and in size, which I think is, needless to say, is the most important criteria in terms of weight and size for the e-mobility.
Now the cutaway shows us what? What am I looking at here?
The cutaway is basically just the air spring itself. It's basically what you see is you have a key is the sleeve inside. It's a rubber sleeve. It's built with threads and molded rubber around it, and that's basically which holds the whole weight of the car and drives the performance in terms of how it's reacting. That would be in the front. In the front, you would basically also have a shock next to it, obviously, which is the shock absorber. But that is really driving the performance, and you can obviously control it by putting air pressure in and taking pressure out, which is basically like a comfort aspect again.
Hey, where would this fit in the picture of the chassis you have here? I mean,
you see here you see basically a front air spring, which is this is basically the lower part here, which I'm holding from the principal, and you're basically seeing this has the whole damper in there. If you go to the back for a second here, you would see a rear, exactly what we have in our hands, like a rear air spring, which does not have the damper basically integrated in the system.
Well, Freudenberg is an impressive organization. I was truly impressed by the complexity of the parts that you put together. As I said before, you have a part here that looks so simple on the outside, and when you do the cutaway, you see how absolutely complicated this is. It's just an amazing thing.
It's basically a switchable engine mount, what we're looking at right now.
Right.
Switchable in terms of you basically have an electronics behind it which can control the behavior of the mount in terms of how tight it is, how strong it is, in terms of depending on how the engine is moving in the vehicle. As you can imagine, there's a lot of mass in the engine. So if you're driving around the curves or downhill, uphill, you're going to have a lot of movements from this weight. With this engine mount, we're able to control and optimize it. Also relevant for think about all the downsizing of engines these days, going to 3 cylinders, cylinder shut off, start stop, all these kind of movements, creating a lot of, I call it sudden move in the engine, which you want to control and don't want to feel on your steering wheel. It should be smooth. That's what you can really control it.
I understand you have a chair here you would like me to test.
Yeah, we have a chair where we basically simulate how it feels in the car, whether you have a hydraulic engine mount versus just a regular engine mount, which shows you just a difference in performance, which we can do with those kind of products we just looked at.
It's amazing.
It'll switch to a non-hydro in a second. You'll feel the difference. This is with a hydraulic mount, premium.
Right.
This kind of goes back to the basic.
These are Michigan roads you're on.
Yeah, that was all for Michigan before. Just a hydro mount.
Yeah, it's the same vehicle.
Feeling home here.
And I think the fascinating is really real road data. So that's the kind of data we're working with when we're laying out a product and specifying for the customer.
Yeah, just moving the pressure chambers around the logic.
It's a fluid. One's antifreeze and one's air.
Oh, Disney finds out about this. How important is it that young people know about this, and what kind of opportunities are there for young people to get into this kind of business?
I think it's how important, I can't judge on a scale, but what I can tell you is the automotive industry, as we all see, also in Detroit again, is in a complete change. I think what we know about automotive, driving on 4 wheels with a steering wheel, is going to be the basics, and what we're seeing today is like IT, is electronic, is connectivity, is battery vehicles. So I think there's so many opportunities for things which even people my age probably are already sometimes too old for, that we're saying the young people can really change the world for automotive. And we've seen how often automotive has changed. I'm convinced that there will be so many great opportunities. And just an example, if I may, on Vibracoustic, for example, we have launched a specific program we call Voyager 2030. You can name any brand for that. But we have basically recruited a group of global, like 20 people, who are all, could be my kids, in the early 20s, and they have the task for the next 6 months to come up in the different regions, China, etc., with how is the business look like for automotive suppliers in 2030 and beyond, just allowing them to get them excitement and now we're doing integration into this automotive world. So the question is not whether or not. I think this is an industry they want to be participating because it stays exciting.
Well, I may have missed my opportunity here, but hopefully a young person will see this and say, I want to do that. Thank you very much for the explanation, and congratulations to Freudenberg.
Thank you. Thank you for the time.
Right.